All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. This is the Nerdcast, where we talk about all things nerdy and maybe even things that are like just hobby oriented. And we have a great show today. It's gonna be a quite a bit cover. So I am here with Mike J. Anna Cherry's not here yet, but she may show up later, so I'm gonna leave her avatar up for now. Hopefully, she will show up. And yeah, we're gonna start. Let's talk about some nerdy stuff. So, without further ado, let's just jump into it. So, you guys, you know about Overwatch, right? It's like this competitive first-person shooter, and there have been a number of controversies ever since the game launched. Like, from one of the playable characters having, I guess, like too nice of a body, because that's kind of what it was. The whole tracer butt thing, that was all about
Oh
that.
yeah, that was the pose specifically.
Yeah, the pose.
Even though it was the same pose another character had.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
replaced it with something that was arguably an even more sexualized pose.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, there was that. And of course, like, they didn't really address, well, there was nothing to address. So I guess they tried to make some people happy, but it doesn't really matter, right? And then after that, there was, I remember a controversy involving a different skin of hers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was it? It was, do you remember?
Are we talking about the new skin, or are we talking about the old one, the
The
original?
old one. Did they?
I
Was
don't
that?
think it was Tracer specifically. It was Diva.
Yes, that's right. It was
Yeah,
Diva. So,
Diva, who
mhm.
canonically is a member of the Korean military, had an outfit where she has a very formal policeman's outfit.
Mhm.
And I'll drop that into the live show chat. And they even had a little special event where you could get it, I do believe.
Mhm.
And a lot of people decided to connect dots where there weren't any. And since this released in 2019, the year one of the George Floyd riots,
Mhm.
they were like, "Oh my God, Blizzard, do do you not, are you not able to read the room? This is so tone deaf. Don't you know that Black Lives Matter?"
Yeah.
And cue everyone, out being faux outraged. And oh god, I loved the outrage artwork that they had, like Diva frowning wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. And
Oh God.
the funniest thing is they always made her like 4 shades darker than she actually is,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
a Korean gamer girl that doesn't leave her mech, she's really gonna have dark skin.
Yeah.
And
Uh.
a similar
Okay.
hoopla happened when they had the Brigitte skin, where she has a riot police outfit, but that was much, much, much more minor. No one really
Mhm.
paid attention to it at that point.
What? Which one was that?
Brigitte, she had a
Oh yeah, she had
riot.
a
Yeah,
riot
I'll
cop
put it in the
outfit.
I'll put it in the chat if you want to put it up on
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Put it in the chat so I can share it on the screen because I.
Honestly, I think it's probably one of the better looking screens too, or not screen. Yeah, one of the better looking skins too.
Yeah, I think so. I got into Brigitte when this came out. I was like, oh, I'm gonna play the shit
Yeah,
out of that. So
it's back when she was also broken as shit.
yeah, she was kind of broken, but this is Brigitte. She, like we said a second ago, she's in this particular skin. She's supposed to be like a riot cop. Um, so again, not very inclusive, guys. Not very thoughtful. There are people being abused by the system all the time, and you can't just like flaunt this,
You can't have
around.
cops in a video game.
Yeah, you can't have cops in a video game. Exactly. Um, it's not responsible. So, but yeah, so we got all of that right. and Overwatch is always, for whatever reason, it's like danced with controversy. So in this latest one, they release a new skin for Tracer called the Constable Tracer,
Yeah, and
and
she looks like a proper British Bobby.
yeah, she looks like an old school British cop, and of course, that's not right. I mean, I don't even frankly think it's that great of a skin personally, but
No,
no.
I don't even play a lot of Tracer, and I wouldn't use the skin mostly because I'd have to pay for it, and I'm not paying $15 for one skin.
Yeah,
No,
first, oh, no
that's not
way.
happening.
That's ridiculous. What is going on, Blizzard? So, apparently, what's the complaint about
Yeah, well,
this?
naturally, Kotaku has to sit there and deconstruct the entire Overwatch lore to find out why this is problematic.
Hmm. Is that what they do?
They basically read into the lore, and it's like, well, obviously here you can see Blizzard trying to say the quiet part out loud, because
Hmm.
as you will know in the Overwatch lore, the Overwatch heroes were cops who were forced to become vigilantes after their organization was disbanded following investigations into some ethically questionable and legally shaky tactics. It's like, okay,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
that was a nice mental triple double backflip you just did.
Really? So the thing about this that I wanted to mention, that I think is like kind of a, I think it's kind of a good takeaway. Okay, because that's why we gave the backstory and showed you some of the other stuff that, I don't know, these, uh what would you call them, like these,
Hooplas. That's a good one.
yeah,
Hoopla.
the hooplas, um that they had a problem with, right? They were on this from the beginning, and they're constantly like trying to find ways to wag their finger at Overwatch. And I think for them, just like it always is about control. It's about like, can we get the developers to submit to us and do what we say? And in this particular instance, even though I think it was Kotaku that got all upset about this, it doesn't matter what it was about. It doesn't matter what their reason are. The point is, though, people aren't falling for it anymore.
Nope.
They, like, Forbes dismissed the
Yeah,
outrage.
Forbes, Eric Kane, who is, not some big MAGA conservative guy. He's kind of a middle of the road, slightly left leaning guy.
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't agree with him on everything. He's had some egregious misses, but he's also had some pretty good takes, and this is pretty good from him, basically calling this entire thing just ridiculous clickbait.
Yeah, and he recognizes it for what it is. It's finger wagging, uh, and no case making. And of course, there's no case to make. That's the, so it's like, well, why? And I think this is good. I think that more people are going to think to themselves, why did we, go along with this in the past, or not say anything, or whatever? Because I do think that is the bigger the big part of the problem, is that there are people who are afraid to speak up, and they don't have to be, like, obviously, right here they just threw it out. And so, like, there
And it's
is,
funny, even even their own comment section on Kotaku is calling them out. Like
yeah.
the first comment with like 70 gold stars or whatever the fuck Kotaku uses as a thumbs up metric. The first lines are is like, I guess this is news.
Yeah.
Can police exist in any game without the game doing a deep dive into the current issues, especially within the US surrounding policing?
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, no one's really buying it anymore.
Yeah.
And I gotta wonder, is that just like because they've beaten this horse to death, or
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
we've seen what Democrat policies in big cities have led to in the past year.
Right, and people are like realizing that there's something of a priority there that's being ignored because we're worrying about skins in video games.
Maybe there are more important things to worry about.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah. Maybe.
If there's any skin controversy that should be raged at right now, it's that the new event they added, which honestly is actually pretty fun. It's an 8-man free-for-all deathmatch.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only play as a few certain characters, but they've all got their Greek god-themed skins. And they've tweaked all of the alts so that they're super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like as Widowmaker, you can freeze people because she's the Gorgon.
Yeah. Oh, I see. That's cool.
And you've got all sorts of really just dope stuff that you can do like that. And it's like, oh, cool. And they made a Mercy skin that's also Greek god themed that you can win. And wait, why do I already have it? Oh, because it's an Overwatch 1 skin they're recycling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
That's just lazy.
It is. It's a shame. So yeah, so I thought I would share this. I think it's like overall it's it's good news. There's no rage bait or rage fuel in here. I mean, there was an attempt, an attempt was made, but it just didn't pan out. Like nobody cares.
Yeah.
So
the one thing too that like I was trying to think of what my first take was when I saw this.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it was, oh god, they added yet another like $15 skin that I'm totally not buying. Second was, that's a British cop. Okay, that's kind of funny. Tracer's British, the outfit's British. It makes sense. And then I thought, oh, there's an even funnier layer to this because like it has a little fake mustache, and I don't know if you've ever played A Hat in Time.
No.
But Hat Girl's nemesis, Mustache Girl, same voice actress as Tracer.
That's interesting. Maybe that's maybe it's a reference to that. I don't know. Pretty interesting.
Those are my final thoughts on there.
All right. Well, guys, let us know what you guys think about this story in the comments. I know there isn't much to it, but I'm just sorry about that. I'm just getting started here. So we're going to move on to the next story. Let me just put this up. All right. And let us know what you guys think about these stories in the comments. So next, going to... here we go. Next we have this story from Bounding into Comics. Alarmist Anti-Defamation League report prompts U.S. Senator to question the Valve Corporation over extremist and anti-Semitic user content on Steam. U.S. Senator has questioned Valve over extremist and anti-Semitic content on Steam after an alarmist report from the Anti-Defamation League. Because, of course, the ADL really understands gamers. Democrat New Hampshire Senator Maggie Hassan wrote to Valve Corporation founder and president Gabe Newell. The letter in question shows Hassan insisting, quote, disturbingly, Steam has a significant presence of users displaying and espousing neo-Nazi, extremist, racial supremacist, misogynistic, and other hateful sentiments. Valve should
really shotgunning it all out there, man.
Yeah, we're just putting it all out there and seeing what sticks. Valve should be taking steps to prevent harmful content, especially given the relationship between online comments and violence in the offline world. What year is this? What?
Oh, it's like we're back in Gamergate, man. 2016.
I mean, I think it's even older than that. Like this is like I don't know. It's
Jack Thompson era.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. Valve should be taking steps to prevent. Yeah, I already read that part. Hassan noted that the only cursory keyword searches using terms and images commonly associated with neo-Nazi, extremist, and racial supremacist ideologies was needed to find pervasive extremist content. This included references to neo-Nazi terminology and symbols.
Wow, you know what other service will readily provide you with images commonly associated with neo-Nazis, extremist, and racial supremacist ideologies that all you have to do is search to find it? Google.
Mm-hmm.
Should we take down Google? Should we take down Wikipedia?
That's a good question.
You can find all sorts of information about, racial supremacist ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
Seek and you will find. It's kind of that easy.
Yeah.
And with how many people are on Steam, you're bound to find a few. It's just the law of averages, man.
Yeah. Yep.
So she's trying to say that many Steam users from participating communities for harassment, abuse, and threatening behavior. She's trying to claim that allowing racist, extremist, anti-Semitic, and other hateful ideologies an unimpeded space in which they can flourish allows for the very real threat of violence in offline physical spaces, with, of course, not providing any evidence of this, just asserting that it's true.
Just asserting that it's true,
and hoping that, you toe the line.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes on to reference this this ADL report called "Hate and Harassment in Online Video Games 2022." So that's how the ADL thing ties in.
Yeah. So here we have the truth. The ADL report: Hate is no game. Hate and harassment in online games 2022. And of course they are, because they're the eternal enemy of fun, basically.
Well, yeah, and whatever they can use as a bludgeon, they can, and they will.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the biggest claims in there is that nearly 1 in 10 gamers between ages 13 and 17 had been exposed to white supremacist ideology and themes in online multiplayer games.
All right.
I'm maybe not the average person, so I won't say that the average person sort of idea is like, oh, well, as an average person, I think I can represent this. No, I'm not going to try to say that, but I'm trying to think desperately, truly hard if I've ever had my mind change ideologically by playing with someone on an online game. I don't think I have.
Yeah, I have. I will go out on a limb and say I don't think you have either.
Have you, Brian? Have you ever had your worldview radically changed because Aryan Pride Worldwide 420XXX called you the N-word?
No, I can't say that I did. And yeah, I'm sorry. I must, you know what? It's probably like so subtle that I'm just gonna suddenly become radicalized, and I'm not gonna know why.
Just overnight, just gonna snap.
I'm gonna go to sleep, and then the actual messaging is gonna go to work, and then I'm gonna wake up the next day with I'm gonna wake up the next day with a Richard Spencer haircut, and I'm gonna be shouting about octoroons, and that's what's gonna happen tomorrow. So if I show up to the news show and I sound a little weird, like I have an accent, just so you know, that's probably why I've been taken by the rhetoric, and it's converted me.
I can smell the anti-mosquito tiki torch burning from here.
Yeah.
And so that this woman, this senator, goes on to basically demand to know if the content that she questioned was against the terms of her service of Steam, and if so, what actions had been taken, and how Steam identifies and punishes these hateful content, and what data is stored, and how proactive the Steam moderation team is.
Yeah.
Basically, it sounds like she's trying to get the government involved in Steam's
Yeah.
business.
Of course. Yeah.
And I guess she's even taken this because she is a senior member of the Senate's Homeland Security Committee,
Mm-hmm.
and just happens to be the chair of the. I love this. This is a great subcommittee. Emerging Threats and Spending Oversight. And she has given Valve an ultimatum to respond by next Sunday.
um. Okay. Well, I guess we'll get right on that. We only got until Sunday of next week.
Imagine like right there, right then and there, like at the they get Gaben to go to Congress, and that's when he decides to announce Half-Life 3.
Mm.
That'd be great, man.
It would be epic for Half-Life fans. So yeah, that is wild stuff. So let us know what you guys think about this story in the comments. Do you have any final thoughts on this before we move on?
Just that the entire thing is by and large bullshit, like even
Mm-hmm.
according to the ADL's own research.
Mm-hmm.
Like their whole theory, like they have a theory that World War II games being on Steam attracted neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
Even though half of these games that I wouldn't even say half, I'd say more like 95% of these games, the Germans are the bad guys. I don't know why that would attract neo-Nazis.
Good. That's a good
and
question.
even in their report, they say, quote, the evidence of the widespread extremist recruiting or organizing in online game environments, such as in Fortnite or other popular titles, remains anecdotal at best, and more research is required before any broad-based claims can be made, end quote.
Yeah.
And so essentially what they're trying to do, and they kind of basically outright say it here, is that the ADL says Steam should have stricter and more active human and AI moderation against this hateful content. And that failure to do so would risk industry, civil society, and government, because they're trying to say that Steam is basically no different than Telegram or Gab or Twitter or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically want to regulate it.
Yeah. All right.
And I think Reclaim the Net said it best, Reclaim the Net is no friend of the ADLs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they sum it up really nice here in this one sentence. When organizations become increasingly irrelevant, they have to create new enemies in order to stay funded.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That sums up most of these activist groups as well as the ADL, which I consider to be another activist group. They just, for whatever reason, they seem to have a little bit more legitimacy. Yeah. So yeah, all of that makes perfect sense. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. First, I want to read your super chats. Maybe I should check to make sure that there aren't super chows as well. So, Dean Domino, 25, gives us $4.99 and says, you should try talking to Adam Friended and PSA Sitch. They just did a stream covering, what? Let me see. They just did a stream covering Vosh and the Young Turks being dumbfounded at how men are not voting left. well, what I'm dumbfounded by the fact that women do still, but I get it. Um, they just see an opportunity to benefit from it. So sorry, I'm just checking my super chats now. I do have a couple. All right,
Okay.
so thank you, Dean Domino. Yeah, I think it's the thing is, I mean, I would hope that the average man knows that voting left is basically just throwing your money away because the government's going to come for your money. And if you like if you're suspicious of women like trying to get at your money, right? You should be especially suspicious of the government, and in particular the leftist government. Although you can probably find many right wing politicians that would do the same. They just use like a different, let's say, excuse for it, right? Like we got to protect our troops or whatever. But the truth is that most of this comes from a leftist government. So men should know that. They should avoid a kind of left wing government if at all possible, and they should use what resources they manage to keep in order to essentially secure, how as much of their own property as possible. So
Focus on yourself, kings.
yeah.
Focus on yourself. That's
All
the
right.
motto of 2023, baby.
Let's see. Meredith G gives us $5 and says HPR News 388. Happy New Year. I would know about Tate if he hadn't been canceled. My concern with him is due process and human rights issues. The allegations are serious, and leaving him in prison to collect evidence is a red flag for me.
That's one of the big problems about Romania there. Not a lot of human rights.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I don't know that there's much we can do since he's in Romania, but yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if he had rights there. Meredith G.
Just like with this, just like with Brittany Griner, all I can recommend to people, stay out of third world countries where the laws are radically different from ours. You're not going to enjoy the amenities that you have here over there. And if you absolutely have to, keep your nose as clean as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Leave the vape cartridges at home. Don't bring the paraphernalia over. And be really fucking careful, because, like, good God, some places like what was it? I think Thailand, if you like spit on the street, you can get fined or like caned.
Yeah. Yeah, they have nutty laws in a lot of these places. There was one where it's like gum is illegal, you know? So yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Be careful out there, folks.
Yeah. If you can help it, just be American. It's a start. It's a start. It doesn't solve all your problems, though. All right. Anyway, let us move on to this is the last story. So not a super long show today, but I think it's good. It's good.
Yeah, we're already 40 minutes deep. We're making a good show.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I think so.
This is probably going to be a longer topic because there's a lot to get into on this. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So we're going to get into the last story. We're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons, and
I don't know about Wizards of the Coast, less Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's true.
And this one's a doozy. So everyone knows that Wizards of the Coast has kind of come under new management as of late, and they've been making a lot of rather woke decisions. And you can say that's due to them wanting to make more money or due to them getting woke and going broke. I think there's a good argument to be made for both of those perspectives. But this is the latest move they've done that is just beyond the freaking pale, man. So, Dungeons and Dragons has operated off of something called the Open Gaming License for a very long time, almost 25 years. Came out in 2000. And the Open Gaming License, which is a very brief read, it's only 900 words, basically outlines how other creators can use the core of D&D, which is something called the System Resource Document, or SRD, which includes stuff like character species, classes, equipment, and most importantly, your general gameplay structures, including like how combat works, how spells work, how creatures work. Yeah. How other creators can use that to make their own stuff using this as a base.
Yeah.
And that's allowed something that's kind of unseen in the corporate sort of world, where it's like, oh yeah, we'll totally allow you guys royalty free to use this license. And as long as we're able to sign off on it at the end of the day and give you the stamp of approval and make everything official, go for it.
Yeah.
That's why, like, one of the funniest things to do is, like, if you've ever come to a thing where it's like, man, I wish someone would make X as a feat, or I wish this item was legitimate. Like, it used to be super fucking easy. All you would have to do is make that in an official format, make like a PDF, and start selling it on Amazon after self-publishing it. And lo and behold, you have published content that is now under the license, that is now official.
Yep.
Well, officially unofficial. It's third-party content, and you kind of got to finagle around third-party content. But the takeaway here is that it was rather open, it was very easy to work with, and it allowed people to make source books, supplementals, new settings, to add in new races, new equipment, and it allowed even people to like go out and make entirely new systems. This whole thing is why we have Pathfinder, for instance.
Yep. That's right.
And it was all well and good and perfect and nice and happy.
Yeah.
And then they decided they needed to fuck it all up. So Wizards of the Coast has come under some very new management as of late. And they've got a bunch of new ideas. And all these ideas kind of fall under the bracket of, how do we make more money? Because one of the big execs right now, she came from Microsoft. The kings of, oh, no. You can't use money to buy this content. You need to use your money to buy Microsoft points, and then you can use that to buy the content. Okay, well, can I buy $5 worth of Microsoft points to buy this thing? No, sorry, the lowest you can do is 10.
Yeah.
God. Microsoft points used to be the fucking bane of my existence.
Yeah, it sounds awful.
It was awful.
Yeah.
So that kind of seems like their mindset right now, and they've had leaks of this new original game license. Like, from this whole time, we've been operating off of the OGL, Original Games License 1.0. And you've had a lot of people, a lot of creators start leaking the same thing that is looking like they're calling it OGL version 1.1. And what's new about it? A lot.
Oh, really?
Well, remember how I said it used to be 900 words? Well, Vegeta, I need you to pull out your scouter and tell me what the scouter says, because it's now over 9,000. We have had a tenfold increase. Now, they claim that this is going to address new technologies, because, in the 2000s, we couldn't have perceived such things like the blockchain and NFTs.
Yeah.
Those things that no one in their right mind is going to purchase in terms of D&D.
Yeah.
So they've basically laid out, and they came out earlier and said, like, hey, look, we only are going to go after people who are making bank off of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're making over $750,000, if you're not making that much, we're not going to touch you.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that's not quite true.
Of course. So what
So
happened?
they've listed the tier as this: the initiate tier. If you have registered at least one licensed work but haven't generated 50,000 or more in total gross revenue from OGL commercial products, that's the tier you're in. If
Mm-hmm.
you've made somewhere between 50,000 but less than 750,000, you're intermediate tier. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're expert tier, if you've made more than 750,000, that's where you fall. And that's when we're going to become kind of expectant with our payment.
Mm. And so this is like people who want to create additional or original content
Yeah, and if you just want
for
to use it in a system that currently exists.
yeah, for Dungeons and Dragons. Uh but let's say that you do that but you don't want to sell it. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't, but you know.
Doesn't
Um
matter.
it doesn't
Because
matter.
there's
So
also a
there you
really
go.
sneaky clause in there too that saying that they want to make these changes because blockchain, NFT, blah 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 blah. They are also taking a strong stance against bigoted content,
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
explicitly stating that the company may terminate the agreement if third-party creators publish material that is blatantly racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, bigoted, or otherwise discriminatory. So basically, we can cut you off whenever we fucking feel like it.
Mhm. Yep. It sounds like.
And the other thing too that people are really freaking out about, one of the big things here is one of the biggest changes in 1.1, and they from 1.0 to 1.1 is they specifically state the OGL 1.0 is no longer an authorized license agreement.
Mhm.
They're basically saying it's not going to protect you. There is no grandfather clause in here. You are all under 1.1 going forward,
Mm.
which is going to be really rough on companies like Paizo, who again is the people behind Pathfinder, the D&D spinoff, 3.5 spinoff specifically,
Yeah.
Kobold Press and Green Ronin that make a lot of third-party content.
Mhm. They do. I'm familiar with Green Ronin.
Positively or negatively, I'm wondering.
Me? I
Yes.
well, when I used it, I liked it if I remember correctly. They were mostly like doing I believe D&D stuff, but it was, like the old OGL like from 3rd edition and stuff. I could be remembering that wrong, but I think I liked them. So,
Yeah,
but
Green Ronin. I think they're most well known for mutants and masterminds.
yes, yeah, exactly. I love mutants and masterminds. Although I don't know, like again, if the guy who created it back in the day is still the same guy, or if the company has changed or whatever. But yeah, I liked mutants and masterminds back in the day. I still have the
I've
original books.
never played it, but I've heard good things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. Continuing on, they later say in the document that the original OGL, the original games license, wasn't intended to fund major competitors, and it wasn't intended to allow people to make D&D apps, videos, or anything other than printed or printable materials for use while gaming. And we're updating the OGL in part to make that very clear.
Yeah.
So they're basically like, again, we're not getting a slice of the pie. Why is that? Why are you
Right.
not doing that for us?
That's a
Time to pay the
problem.
piper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be really hard to argue against because, again, ostensibly they own D&D.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like, talk about absolutely dropping a nuke on your community. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just about the gamers, it's not just about like the DMs anymore. This is about the community, the creators, the enthusiasts, the everyone.
Yeah.
This
All these people that
everyone is
have
going to be
invested.
affected.
Yes, all these people that have invested in this system,
Mm-hmm.
they have to be pissed, right? And
Oh yeah.
then you mentioned something interesting that I think should be brought up is that speaking of the community of D&D, um, I guess Matthew Mercer, who is one of the what do you call it members of
Well, kind of
the
the guy behind Critical Role.
yeah the guy
He's been
behind
their
Critical Role, yeah.
DM. He's also been a player a few times, but he's most well known as the DM.
Yeah. And I guess he was not thrilled with this either. And so he's
It
what?
seems that
Oh.
he's not thrilled. Like, he hasn't come out and made a huge statement to my knowledge yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, he has seemingly shown support for the community over the
Mm-hmm.
company
Mm-hmm.
concerning this, retweeting a lot of the sort of pro community, anti OGL change stuff. So he hasn't come out
Mm.
and said anything yet, but it's really interesting to see where he's going to land on this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because Critical Role has become, I mean, love it or hate it, it's become a phenomenon. It is kind of, yeah, I'll say it, it's kind of solely responsible for why Wizards of the Coast got as big as they did, especially during the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Because, everyone was stuck inside, everyone had nothing better to do, everyone's like, maybe one day I'll look into that D&D thing, but it looks really daunting, it looks really, really, really hard to make, it looks really time consuming, I just don't have the time for that. And oh no, a virus with a 99.998% chance of survival. Well, shit, now I have all the time on my hands in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what's this? A show with a bunch of nerdy voice actors who I remember from that one thing. Wow, this seems like a blast. I'm definitely going to learn how to play now. And then boom, Wizards of the Coast stock price absolutely shoots up.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if they're publicly traded, but they got some money going their way. So,
Oh, for sure.
this happens, this blows up. Critical Role has become kind of a phenomenon unto itself. And at this point, it's really... The question could be asked with all seriousness. Does Critical Role need Wizards of the Coast anymore?
Mm-hmm.
I think they could walk. They could go to a number of other systems, which they have done in the past for like one-shots,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd do just fine. Plus, Matthew Mercer himself has teased in the past that he may or may not have been making his own system.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, if he manages to do that and Wizards of the Coast keeps being explicitly dumb about this,
Yep.
bon voyage, we're not sharing our money with you.
Yep.
And
That's what
that,
I was thinking.
I do think that is one of the bigger reasons. I mean, they flat out basically said that we're not here to fund our rivals, and we're not here to, use the OGL as, again, it specifically says this was made to make printable sheets and to be read online, not to make videos and not to fund our rivals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that right there is a shot across the bow at things like Critical Role and a shot across the bow to Paizo and Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we're coming for you. We're coming for your money. Buckle the fuck up.
Yep. So yeah, but that basically sums it up. I mean, all I'll say is that I am grateful for the golden age of D&D when the OGL was an OGL. Like, it was open to whoever. Pathfinder hadn't existed yet when I got into it, but so much creativity came out. Around that period, there were games that might use the D&D system, but they had, completely different settings and genres, and even gameplay. They would add features, they would take features out, whatever. And I thought it was great. I mean, I loved Mutants and Masterminds is one example, because the guy who created it, he obviously was based on the D20 system, but he had something completely different in terms of like how he handled things like combat and damage and stuff, and it works really well for the kind of game he made. And then there was like so that was like a superhero genre. And then there was some science fiction ones which were also great. There was a western. I mean, they just had, everybody was it was like a playground. I think the people who were just creating new systems were having just as much fun as the people who were going to play in them. So like, and that's all over. Well, at least for now. Unless some of those designers.
I don't know if we're gonna get that back, man.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna kind of have to stick to the old stuff. Like I've always said, I am a huge proponent of Pathfinder First Edition.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever played D&D 3.5, it's basically, the best way to think about it is it's D&D 3.75 in terms of rules and stuff like that. But it is, a new setting, new regions, new lore, new gods, new stuff like that, and it's pretty damn fun. Plus, it's all out there. It's all kind of set up already. So if you want to like go and download everything before Wizards of the Coast deems it verboten, it might be a good time to do that.
Yeah, right.
Get your hands on as many physical books as humanly possible, and pray that Wizards of the Coast finally goes, hey, you know what? This was actually a really dumb idea. But I am not going to hold my breath on that.
We'll see.
Think this is going to get really fucking messy. And you're going to have a lot of content creators walk, and you're probably going to have a few court cases on your hands.
Yeah. Well, I hope that the people who feel the need to fight do so, and I guess we'll have to see how things go. This is it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, because and one of the things that actually makes me kind of hopeful in a really weird, bizarre twist sort of way. If there's anything that can unite the sort of old school, stay out of my yard, quit changing my game, sort of grognards like you and me, and the new progressive D&D is for everyone, inclusion, hashtag acceptance, ban all the bigots types. Holy crap, it's this.
Hopefully.
Neither of these groups want the company coming in and being like, well, you owe us money now. Why? Because you made a thing for our game, but that was allowed. But that's before I said it wasn't allowed.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen nobody on either side praise this as a good thing. Everyone has kind of universally looked at this and said, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad, and what the hell are you doing, Wizards?
Mm-hmm. Those are, yep, good points all around. Well, we'll see, I guess. So, let us know what you guys think about this story in the comments. And I look forward to seeing your thoughts on that. I guess now we're going to close out the show. So the first thing I'd like to do is thank Mike J for coming on and talking to me, because otherwise it'd just be me by myself, and I don't think you guys want that. But aside from that, I want to thank you guys for watching today's show. And yeah, we're gonna close it out here. We're gonna go into a patron show. So if you are a supporter or a patron person, please consider, well, not consider because you already have the right, but make sure that you go and follow the links so that you can join us in the patron show after this show is over. Okay? So anyway, if you guys like this video, please smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you know when our shows go live. And please share this video because sharing is caring. And most importantly, please leave us a comment because we love getting comments from you guys. So thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of the Nerdcast, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.
No worries, take your time.
Hey, Mr. 033, how are you?
Hello, pretty good. How about you, Bran?
Good. Not bad.
You sound a bit tired, perhaps?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm experiencing a bit of a medical issue. I don't know what it is yet. I'm gonna hopefully find out tomorrow. So I'm kind of like keeping this close to the chest, I guess, for now. Until I know more. That's weird. Oh, I see.